Hey, it's Jordan with the Young Turks, TYT Politics. I'm back here at Camp Promise. This is in Kersley Park in Flint, Michigan. It's a really nice public park, really big public park. A lot of open lands here, and right behind me is where Flint residents and some people who have come from out of town are camping out. It's a resistance camp, kind of similar to a lot of the camps you've seen popping up around the country. The only difference with this camp is they're not really fighting something that might happen in the future. They are really protesting what's already transpired and the lack of action, the lack of recovery and results that the government has given them. Right behind me is a couple residents and other water protectors here at the fire. Right over there, we'll give you a better tour later. You got a kitchen area, you have donations coming in. There's a couple tents that are here people are sleeping out overnight. And I'm here with Aaron. You helped kind of find this camp. First off, how long have you lived in Flint for, and what prompted you to start this?
Actually, I don't live in Flint right now. Oh, I mean, I live at the camp here. But I used to live just a couple blocks away on Poplar Street in the early 2000s. That was pretty much my first experience here at Kersley Park. So basically, I was younger and wild back then. And, not to get into everything, but doing things, I was learning life and doing things I shouldn't be in the community. So that's kind of my connection here, is a karma thing, coming back and giving back to somewhere that I was kind of victimizing as a youth, vandalizing. So that was kind of as far as my ties here and my involvement in Flint. Anyone that lives in Genesee County knows this is our gym. This is where we come. This is our city. So, we came here for concerts, art programs, festivals, for pretty much our whole lives, anyone in the community. So anyone that's pretty much Genesee County is affiliated to this city. But basically that's kind of where my ties originated, to this park, to this community.
So you came to the town hall we did at TYT, where we didn't have police and we didn't arrest anybody. Yeah. So we did that. That was on March 28th, and pretty soon after that, you and another person created this.
You might have been arrested at that one.
Yeah.
If I remember right.
No, I wasn't arrested, but
You could have been from your.
yeah.
You had a slip up maybe.
Yeah. What kind of was like the light bulb that went off that like this needs to happen now?
Well, actually, we had heard Adam's story during the meeting, and
That's Adam Murphy. He's a father of 5. He's right there, actually. I'll talk to him in a bit. And he's been really affected negatively. His health has really been shot by the lead and other contaminants. So he was speaking at my town hall.
and basically we listened to his speech, or shared his story, and me and Ryan actually rode together that night, and we were active in the community daily, protecting the water from the Capitol to right here in Flint. So it's kind of just became a full-time job for us. And we left that meeting, and it was like, it just seemed like everything's complacent, and everyone was tired, and everyone was getting just real combative with each other and argumentative. And it was just seemed like a time for something new, something different. And Ryan's a veteran of Standing Rock. He went out there with some of the veterans that responded out there to support them guys. And so it was like, man, what about this camp stuff? They're kind of popping off everywhere. It's getting a lot of attention. Why don't we do a camp where we could keep a promise to the city of Flint and to the Murphys of using our voices from the outside as a ways to raise awareness here for other people. Basically giving them a platform to share their stories, as tragic as they are and sometimes horrific and painful to listen to. We felt they weren't getting out as much, so maybe if we could create some foundation, a base where they could kind of come do that from, and also in the meantime give a place for protectors and compassionate volunteers to come to help out in the community and organize actions within our community to everything from, raising awareness for immediate health care. I mean, that was, after listening to Adam, I did a short interview, with my personal Facebook. And basically I couldn't even get a portion of it because I was so moved and just felt so saddened by their struggle. Man, I don't know how you do it sometimes, These are people, these are real stories. And if you just give it a small listen, you'll be affected. I mean, if you're any kind of thoughtful, aware person with compassion, you can't hear these stories and be unaffected by them. And I had to stop the interview because I just couldn't do it. And I actually felt some sort of guilt of some sort of weird exploitation factor where I just didn't feel comfortable. So I just stopped and hugged Adam, and we shared some words and some tears, and I just kind of let him know that I'm here for him, and I made a promise that we're not going to stop until he gets the help he needs.
So Adam's just one of many.
He's one person. He's one person. This is one family and an entire city that has been forgotten. For the most part, they've been forgotten. And it's not because people don't care. It's because mainstream media, local media, they don't paint, they paint this in a lighter portrait than the real realities that are at stake here. The health issues, the outright refusal of treatment, the denial of treatment, the mistreatment of these poison people.
The cover your ass, blame the EPA blames the city. And
that's one of my other things that I try to create is these people have been victimized on every level imaginable. And it's unbelievable. They were victimized, obviously, from the water problem from the get-go. Then now they're trying to get treatment. They're being victimized. People with skin problems are being told that because of their hygiene, they have these problems. When everyone knows that these are problems directly related to this water, and so they're victimized there. They're victimized when they call for water deliveries sometimes. There's issues there where they're...
Well, the governor lost a court case where they said he has to deliver water home to home. He filed an appeal. He didn't want to do it. He lost on appeal. He still hasn't done it.
That's the thing. The local and state leaders, their actions speak louder than words. That is a prime example. That is one prime example of... They say this, they do that. They say this, they do that. And that's all the way from our council here, all the way up. And I'm not going to name names. And that's kind of my angle on this camp is a compassion camp for volunteers that are active, that want to come and work and prayer and help heal. We have people from the metaphysical community reaching out, healers, spiritual healers. We have preachers here praying with us. We're going to start having all kinds of different spiritual activities here, if you want to say that. So this is a mind, body, soul healing, a community healing. We can help mediate between some of the damaged relationships from this crisis, because that's one of the most disheartening things for me is seeing the community kind of fall apart because of a lack of leadership and a lack of compassion from the outside community. And so that's really disheartening to see these guys all kind of at each other's throats because they all want the same thing and they're all victims of the same corruption.
I want to get to the specifics of the camp, but I wanted to bring Adam in here since we're talking about him. He's here. So this is Adam Murphy. You have 5 children, correct? And you spoke at my town hall. You've spoken elsewhere too. I'm not going to tell your whole story. You could tell it better than me. But basically, the camp was started in a way because of something you said at the town hall we did. What do you think in terms of this camp? Do you want to see it as kind of a healing camp, a protest camp? What kind of people do you want to come in here? Because, I mean, we'll have a couple tens of thousands of people watching this, maybe more. And, a lot of these people feel for Flint, but they want to know what can they do. Is it bodies on the ground you need? Is it something else?
Bodies on the ground, I mean, for sure. We definitely need people that aren't sick to be able to come out here and serve the people and see it for themselves, from their own eyes. that this isn't a conspiracy, this isn't just a hoax, it's really happening, and that waking up, bringing awareness to other cities across the nation and the world, that this could happen to you. And I was just a guy living the American dream, working, trying to provide for my family, giving my kids my kids a life.
This is your wife here?
Christina, yeah. And so, before I knew it, I was a journeyman, went through the apprenticeship, and got to work in the field as a journeyman for 2.5 years, and now I can't do that anymore. So it's taken my future, it's taken my kids' future, it's ripped our dreams away. But this camp has brought kind of a hope. Like you come here, you go home at night, and you just forget about the chaos. You forget about that, hey, there's people coming to represent you and serve you, and you kind of almost feel bad in a sense, like, man, I wish I could do more for my community, but that's.
Let's get to why you can't, because you and your wife and your house had some of the highest levels of lead and other contaminants. Your dog died of extreme levels. Puppy died. Can you kind of talk about your health challenges?
Well, I have seizures. It's very painful to walk around. It's I don't. It's a struggle driving to places because I get lost. Like just going to my parents' house. I've been there many times, but driving 20 minutes, 30 minutes, your mind doesn't allow you to remember those. It's like almost dementia, early onset dementia. So you just forget that short-term memory loss is there, and the fog and the tremors, the tics, the anger, the rage. I mean, it's very, Mad Hatter.
So your cognitive function has been really almost disabled.
Yeah, and I can't go working in a car plant where they got rigs and heavy equipment, and you have to be 110% up here when you're putting together a turbine, and I can't put somebody else's life in danger because I want to make some money. This is much more than that. And I go to work. If I go to work and I kill myself because I'm not healthy, or I kill my buddy next to me, that doesn't service anything. So I had to make a decision that, I can't work anymore,
And a lot of people don't realize, because they're not here, that you would think if like the citizens were poisoned by government, you want to say intentional, just gross negligence, whatever, that they would kind of roll out the red carpet and bend over backwards. But you guys are a really good example of having to fight and claw just for like basic relief. We talked to Christina about the treatment you guys received or didn't receive. I know it's a long story, but can you kind of describe what you guys have been through?
Well, when this first happened, I was pregnant, and that was scary.
Your fifth child?
Yep. Well, it was my third. I have two stepsons, but I was pregnant with Declan, and it made it really hard because the water's attacking my body and causing my joints to ache, and they're trying to say I have rheumatoid arthritis, and I'm also having memory fog as well. And it's just constant pain and tiredness and fatigue and not being able to think straight. So, like I said before, we have two parents that can figure out. We found out that we need chelation therapy on our own. We found out that we need a filtration system on our own. And Scott Smith swooped in and out of nowhere and got us detailed water reports that we're able to have our doctor look at and say, yeah, you need this sort of treatment. So all these things are so important. And like I said to the guy,
And just to be clear, Scott Smith, who does water testing, he has found a lot more things than the EPA has found, because kind of like you can only find what you look for.
so yeah, they only told us about lead and copper, which both cause a lot of problems. But the aluminum and the phosphate and the arsenic and the acetone and
Chloroform.
bacteria, and now there's a super bacteria that they're talking about. These kids and elderly and I have a weakened immune system, and I'm not either a kid or elderly, but I have a weakened immune system now because of the water. So if I get this bacteria that they're talking about, they're like saying that you're susceptible to possible death. So like, this is real. It's like a war zone around here. And why are they not helping us? Obvious guilt.
And money is more important. Money is more important than our health. Yet they put people away to make money.
You know what, though?
They put
It
people
might not
away
be-
for abusing their animals, neglecting their animals. I've said this before. They put people away for abusing their children, neglecting their children, but they won't put people away, and they'll arrest people for peacefully
I heard they want the land. They want the land. They want us out, and they want to rebuild. That's where the money's going to come in later. They're not worried about money right now.
They're arresting the sick, but yet they haven't arrested anyone from the government who poisoned us, or even the emergency manager. All I gotta do is plead the fifth and walk away, get a $30,000 fine, and what? That's not justice. There's no justice in that. People have died. Yeah. People go to jail for murder. I mean, this is what 12 people have died from Legionnaires, and upper respiratory infections because their immune system has been compromised, and the government doesn't want to step in and do anything, but yet they don't have a problem spending $12 million on lawyer fees because they're guilty.
And that's taxpayer money paying for Rick Snyder's lawyer fees.
Yeah, I would like to know how Michigan feels about paying for his lawyer fees. Is that really where they want their money going? That's
Poisoning children and families.
and animals.
So, as part of this camp, Aaron, and you guys and other residents are here kind of at its foundation. Hopefully more people come. What are kind of the demands that you guys are looking for? I mean, if you want to chime in too.
Well, the first thing that we've been talking about is some sort of immediate wraparound, compassionate healthcare system for these people.
Because it seems the town hall the other night, they're basically saying if you're over 21, you're kind of like shit out of luck. If you're under 21, you get some type of health care, but I know a lot of people have been paying out of pocket anyway. They're not covering everything.
Well, the one thing that you need to look at is everybody going to stay in Michigan? And does Medicaid cover somebody who goes to Tennessee or Texas or Arizona? Do they get covered leaving this state? Does Texas want to pick up Michigan's problem and say, oh, now we have to put our tax dollars to this family because they were poisoned by Flint, Michigan, or Michigan in general? Does it cover going state to state? No, it doesn't. It's Medicaid. It's Michigan health insurance.
It doesn't cover
and it doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't.
No chelation coverage. No
or the
holistic
vitamins
care
you need.
or environmental doctors are not included, and you don't have your family physician do brain surgery,
Right.
and you don't have your
State
family physician do environmental care.
Yeah.
So
I've been to the doctor several times, and they're just not educated in this area.
well,
and
maybe they're saying they're not.
I don't think they are. I really don't. I don't think this is the norm. It's not the norm. It's like, I think when we took our dog to the vet, I think our vet said she hadn't had an animal poisoning like this for just lead since like 1970. That was like, and it was because a dog ate some paint chips.
So basically what I'm hearing is you want universal health care, period, for the affected residents.
This is the thing. We need Democrat and Republican leaders on all levels to come together and get these people help. It's real simple. I understand when we have differences of opinion or policies or regulations. Yeah, that stuff takes time. We have checks and balances. We have certain orders we have to do things in. This is simple. These people are sick. They need help, guys. Get together. Do something for them. Help them. That's what you're supposed to do. Do your jobs. Help the people of Flint get healthy.
Well, one thing that I find stunning is you have the governor here considering giving Nestle more basically giving Nestle a permit to take hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of more gallons out of freshwater creeks and streams here. That water could be coming to you. That water could be coming in the interim before they replace these lead pipes, which I'm going to get to in a minute. But it seems like, and we know General Motors, when General Motors realized there was a problem, they were allowed to switch off. They were allowed to switch off of the Flint River over a year before residents were. So it seems like corporations.
That's how I found out that my dog was sick, was because one of the guys on the CNC machines told me. He goes, I was the one that brought it to General Motors' attention that the parts were corroding. 2 weeks after the switch, the parts were corroding. So because they had $400 million or $400,000 or whatever the number was, don't quote me on it. I guess I could be off on that, but they had a lot of money, and money's power. And they were under construction at the time because they were getting a new paint shop. They were building onto the plant. What a perfect time to go in and change the infrastructure and make the switch back to Detroit.
And one of your demands is also about replacement of the lead pipes. Right now, they're talking about doing it in 3 years.
Yeah, that's just not going to happen. We're not okay with that. We know that's ridiculous. Here's the thing: the people in the community, local unions, local plumbers. There is people in the community ready to help. They're ready to mobilize. They're well qualified. They're well prepared. We just don't have the money. We don't have the equipment. We don't have the resources.